Just started. Good afternoon today to attend our webinar focusing on WAERlinx, Advanced Warehouse Management for NetSuite. My name is Ryan Harris. Many of you will know me as your account manager at NoBlue. I'm delighted to be joined on today's webinar by David Snelson, the Managing Director at WAER Systems, and Andy Bergen, Project Manager of WAER Systems. Both are experts in the warehouse management industry and will provide an overview of the product today, featuring a demonstration as well as answering any questions you may have during the Q&A later on. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please just use the chat option provided. We'll cover as many of these as off in the Q&A later on. So I'll now hand you over to David, who will take you through the initial presentation.
Thanks, Ryan, and good afternoon, everybody. Hello, and I hope you are well. What we're going to do today is give you a quick introduction into WAER as a company. Just a few slides, you'll be pleased to know, just to give you an overview of the kind of things that we do and who we do it for. And then we're going to immediately show you a live demonstration of our software platform. It is not a massively detailed demonstration because we are the provider of an advanced warehouse management solution. It would take a very long time to get into all the detail. But what we are going to do is give you an overview of the journey of an order as it leaves a NetSuite solution and travels through into WAERlinx to be picked, packed and shipped. And we'll also show you goods in, talk about stock counting, and we'll talk about inventory management and courier integration and that kind of thing. It's the general demo that we normally do, and it usually covers off lots of the points that audiences tend to inquire about. So without further ado, we'll just get straight into this. So, WAER Systems, who are we? I think you probably all have a fairly good idea if you've come to the webinar, but we are a software company that develop, deliver and support a product called WAERlinx, which is an integrated advanced warehouse management solution for the NetSuite platform. And our core purpose, the thing that we exist for, is to enhance your warehouses with the technology platform that we've got. We have been in business since the year 2000, and we've got customers all over the world. And our background was aerospace and the third-party logistics sector. So our customers are people like Airbus, Bombardier, Kuehne + Nagel, Schenker, Spirit Aerostructures, that kind of OEM and large 3PL. And for those customers, WAERlinx was a very expensive solution, way north of £250,000, and it solved complex problems in aerospace supply chains, like vendor managed inventory programs, global consignment stocking, kitting for manufacturing, and obviously warehouse management too. But we don't do that anymore. What we do now is have a razor sharp focus on the NetSuite world and deliver a fantastic warehouse management platform for companies that power their business with Oracle NetSuite. We are only partnering with Oracle NetSuite and have that razor sharp focus just on that, which gives us a good advantage and a good set of expertise and knowledge around that system and all the interfaces and things that go to it. Our company has got 3 locations. The first is in Yorkshire, in Sheffield. We've also got an office in Lansing in West Sussex, and we have a development house in Harare in Zimbabwe. Everything that you see is delivered and supported from Amazon Cloud, and our support team are based in our office in the UK in Lansing, and we offer 24/7 support. Our partner is often NetSuite, where they ask us to come and help them with a warehouse management application. But of course, it's wonderful companies like NoBlue as well, who we partner with and have done many projects with in the UK and also in Europe, and we're also pretty strong in the US. How do we go from aerospace wings to where we are today? It basically started in 2014 when we met a company in London called Winebox. We did a terrific project for them, built all the interfaces for them. You'll be pleased to know, knocked a zero off the price of our software and became a NetSuite solution partner. The rest is history. We have gone from strength to strength ever since, delivering over 40 contracts now. 44, I think, is the exact number, with 13 delivered that last year, and we've got 16 delivery slots for 2021. These are our customers, or at least some of them. I'm sure you'll recognize one. There, DCK is one, and they're a recent customer of ours. But there's a very broad range here. We have customers in furniture and furnishings like Cox and Cox. We have big Fortune 500 companies, ones that you might not necessarily be familiar with, but they are multi-billion-dollar organizations like Iron Planet and also Bayware. They are huge companies in the US, and Iron Planet, for example, have WAERlinx it being used in 600 warehouse locations around North America. But generally, our sweet spot is companies that do light manufacturing, business to consumer, distribution, e-commerce, and also some light manufacturing. So Two Rank is a good example. That's a gin distillery in Holland. And we also do quite a lot of stuff with companies like Frog Bikes. So we're strong at being able to work with stock being delivered in association with work orders to manufacturing WIP locations, which is one of the unique features that we've got. So that's our customers. This is where they are. There's quite a few in South Africa, a lot in Europe. You can see a lot in the UK. And of course, North America is a big growth area for us too. Our product, WAERlinx. So let's just talk about that for a second to give you an introduction. It has been honed from everything that we've learned in aerospace, and all warehouse processes that you would expect are managed. So everything from receiving through to the shipping, inventory management, but we do a lot more besides. You've got full barcode scanning. The hardware that we recommend is a big advantage. There's no huge capex because we can use Android mobile phones with small Bluetooth scanners, and that is far more cost effective than big handheld computer terminals. You can basically scan or enable everybody in your warehouse for perhaps £150 per person instead of a couple of thousand. We can model any warehouse structure, multi-global warehouses, as I've already alluded to, right down to small scale systems. Transaction volumes we can handle very, very high volumes. 25,000 in a day is what one of our customers in London does on Black Friday. We also we're going to show you, but we also have lots of flexibility around picking. It's the way that companies pick that tends to differentiate themselves from each other, that along with the way that they ship and how they integrate with couriers. And you can see we've got interfaces as standard to lots of couriers that I'll show you in a second. The other great thing about WAERlinx is because it sits outside of NetSuite, it has to be interfaced to it. And we have all that hard, difficult interfacing work already done, because those interfaces are in operation at lots of our customers around the world. These are some of the customers that the couriers that we integrate to. Some that you won't know that well that are in North America, but all the kind of main ones for the UK and Europe are in there. And this is what I was talking about, the difference between us. So we sit outside NetSuite, which means we're not constrained by the NetSuite platform. We can do what we want with our system. We can develop it in lots and lots of feature-rich ways. And we're also very strong at tweaking that last few yards to give you a solution that suits the niche needs of your business. We, as I said, can also handle high transaction volumes, and that complex functionality that we can accommodate is not necessarily always possible in an ERP system. So that's where we fit really in the marketplace. It's a warehouse management solution that meets the demands of complex supply chains. That's really it for me. I'm going to hand over now to Andy so that we can show you our software. Andy, if you just want to pick up as presenter.
Presenter. Here we go. So I'm going to turn off video, save a bit of bandwidth. So this is our home screen of the WAERlinx WMS. And as you can hopefully see here, it consists of three broad sections. Firstly, here is a section of all of the work that is to do. Think of these as orders that are to be fulfilled inside the warehouse. So we have sales orders, any work orders that you may be doing, any transfers to other warehouses, any returns that may need to be processed. There's also a link to a view of any inbound purchase orders. And if you're doing any replenishment of dynamic pick faces inside the warehouse from bulk storage locations also in the same building, we can manage that as well using pre-built top-up functions that are there for that purpose. The way that the WMS works generally, it's driven by work tasks, and as the work starts to be done inside the warehouse, all of these demands that are here to do, they move down into in progress, where they stay visible in real time for the duration of the time while they're being picked. And then those orders that are being handed over to a packing station will be visible via this packing link here. There is a link to a range of KPIs that I will I'll show you to later on in the demo. And then as the work gets completed, it moves over here into these done sections where you have this nice big, very clear view of all the different work types that have been completed during the day-to-day so far. And then up here on the top left, if it matters to you to visualize the difference between orders and order lines, you can toggle between these numbers that are represented here in number of lines or the number represented as orders. If you're a kind of business where you might have a relatively small number of orders, but those orders have lots of lines on them, it's more pertinent to look at the actual lines that you have to process rather than to look at the orders themselves. So that's a short summary of the home screen. It's designed to provide a supervisor or indeed a warehouse team with an at-a-glance view of the drumbeat, the pulse of the warehouse, the amount of work that there is to do, the amount of work that's going on right now, and the amount of work that's been done during the day-to-day so far. As a starting scenario, I want to introduce you to how WAERlinx manages the order fulfillment function. So it begins here in NetSuite, where we have a sales order. It's reached the state of pending fulfillment. That's the trigger for the order to be interfaced into WAERlinx, where the next steps are to pick, pack, and ship. So as you can see here, just to give it some context, we've got a couple of items on the order and the stock has been committed, but it has not yet been picked, packed, or fulfilled. So that's what I'm going to do over the next couple of minutes. And it starts here in the to-do section here, where I'm going to click on this link that will take me to a view of all of the sales orders that have been reached the state of pending fulfillment and are now waiting to be fulfilled. Key feature of this is the fact that it allows you to filter the orders according to whatever criteria suit you best for the purposes of managing picking operations. Popular filters would include typically a courier. If you're shipping certain orders out by DHL, you could filter all those and get those being picked. Or for a certain type of customer, if you have particular large corporate accounts and want to get all the picking done for those, then you can manage it that way. The NetSuite sales channel is also a very popular one, particularly for online retailers. But it's for those reasons, it's a very powerful function. It's a very quick way to allow you to filter the orders in whichever way suits you best before then getting them released for picking with maximum efficiency. You also have the choice to automatically group these orders into waves or batches consisting of multiple orders, so that when the operator goes on the mobile device and starts picking, they're directed just to start picking the next wave or batch of orders. I'll finally tell you that you can vary the method that you use to pick these orders. A single pick is what it says, it's one after the other. If I select a few orders in the way that I'm doing here and assign them out, then this user is going to be directed to pick these orders one after the other, essentially making 4 trips around the warehouse. If you compare that with batch pick, it can add a lot of efficiency, because what I do in this case is I'm picking all 4 orders in a single trip around the building. So imagine a tote or a container, perhaps a cardboard container on a cart, and I'm picking all 4 orders following an optimum pick walk sequence around the building. Whichever way I choose to do this, the next step is to go and pick the order. And the way I do that is using an Android mobile device, which I've got modeled on the screen here. I can see all the different functions. I can see the tasks with a little red button, red numbered circles that I have to complete. I can see here that I've got 2 pick tasks. So if I click on that pick function, I get a view of the order that I'm needing to pick next. I also get a view of any special instructions that need to be applied as part of the order fulfillment. I can optionally print a license plate label that will track the items that I pick for this order as I go around the warehouse. And then to actually do the picking, I'm going around to bin locations and scanning them, scanning the items as I confirm the pick. I've got a couple on here to do, so I'll first of all just follow the instruction, scan the first bin location. The prompt at the top changes to tell me to scan the item to pick. So here, as I remove the item from the bin and put it into its pallet or onto its container, I scan it, and then that transacts the inventory out of the bin into my container. It's a very important part of what the WMS does, because it's giving me real-time control of all the stock inside the building. So I'll repeat that for the next item on the order. Scan the bin, take the item out of the bin, scan the item. It can be item barcodes, UPC codes, whatever barcoding format you choose to use. And then when I get to the end of the pick, I get a prompt to drop the order off, the picked order, or hand it over to the packing team. And I can optionally print a packing sheet that goes into the pallet or into the box with the goods. And then if I've got any more orders to pick, these will be displayed for me here on screen. I won't have to go back into the office and request more work or anything like that. I would normally expect my supervisor to have seen how I'm progressing through this order pick and assign more work to me. So I stay out in the warehouse, I stay mobile, and I continue adding value. So just to recap what we've done, we've taken our order here in To Do, we've released it to picking. That's moved it here to in progress, where it stayed throughout the time that I was picking it. At the end of the pick, I handed it over to the packing team, where if I click on this link here, it shows me the packing functions. If I'm a supervisor and I have permission to view this, here I get this real-time view of all the orders that have been picked that are now waiting to be packed. If I'm a packing operator, what I'm going to see is when I select goods out and pack, I first of all scan the license plate label that was printed for the order at the start of picking. And so here, what I see are the items that have been picked for the order. I can also optionally print a shipping container label, because now I'm going to pack the container that these items are going to be delivered to the customer in. So I print that shipping container label, that goes on the outside of my box, and then as I pack each item, I scan it, and as I do that, my screen divides up so that I can visibly distinguish between the items that I've packed and the items that are now still waiting to be packed. I can add additional containers as I need to. This is primarily for reasons of customer service and courier integration. If there are multiple shipping containers, we need to know which items are in which container. I'm going to quickly finish this off, and then I get a final confirming display of all of the items that have been packed for the order. I can see which container they're inside. I see the special instructions here at the top of the list, top of the screen, excuse me. And then provided I'm happy with that, by clicking on complete, that's when a number of things happen. Firstly, we mark the order as shipped both on NetSuite and on WAERlinx. Secondly, we downdate the inventory on both systems so that NetSuite and WAERlinx are always synchronized for inventory balances. We'll print you a branded delivery advice note. That's the document that goes to the customer that's got your corporate logo and other identification marks on it. And then fourthly, and no less importantly, if you're using any of the couriers that David introduced you to on the earlier slide, we will automatically make the courier booking. That will print out a label, typically on the packer's desk, somewhere nearby where the order has been packed. The label will have a tracking reference number on it. The tracking reference number goes back to NetSuite with the fulfillment notification that we send. You see here the order is now updated to pending billing. And what we've also done is we've updated the packed and fulfilled sections for the order. So that's a very quick tour of pick, pack and ship. There is a lot of variation on that I could spend a lot of time talking about, but hopefully that's sufficient for now. Is there anything that anybody would like to ask at this point?
Thanks, Andy. I just want to make the point that everything that we're showing you there has a huge amount of flexibility, as Andy just said. Lots of the packing that you saw there is done differently in nuanced ways by our customers, and pretty much every scan is optional. And it's a question of making a judgment in your supply chain of traceability versus speed. The faster you are, obviously, the less traceability you're going to have. It depends on the product mix that you have, and you can also have different rules across the warehouse for different families of product. Different products can be treated in different ways because not everything should be treated the same in a warehouse. There are different criteria that you need to apply based on product characteristics. Go on, Andy.
Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do is give an overview of some of the KPIs that we provide for our customers. Again, just to introduce, a little bit like this home screen, all of our graphical and tabular KPIs are developed directly in response to what our customers tell us they need to see for warehouse operational decision making, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. The KPIs are all up. Yep.
So the KPIs that we've got, there are around 40 that we've got of these kinds of widgets. This is just a small selection. You can see how many empty locations in the warehouse with the one on the top left. The user transaction summary shows the work that your team have done. Assigned activity is what people are doing right now. User operations is more complex. That gives you a view over a calendar year to show you how the team is performing relative to each other. And you can start to drill down, look at certain people, look at certain teams, measure their performance, and change behavior if it's required, or reward people, which is what lots of our customers do with targets based on WAERlinx throughput. We also have goods in to show you. So if we could just nip to that, Andy, please.
Yeah, thanks, David. So goods in is a two-step process, starting with a NetSuite purchase order or an advanced shipping notice if you're using the inbound shipments feature, where what we first of all do is record the receipt of the inventory onto a receiving bay. That makes the stock visible on the system, makes it visible on NetSuite as well as on WAERlinx. It also sends a receipt notification so that the buyer, the procurement person, can see that this order has been received or partially received. But what WAERlinx then does as well is it creates this online task directing an operator to put the inventory away into a warehouse. Done on a mobile device. The way it works is they scan the items, a little bit like picking in reverse actually. They scan the items to confirm that they pick them up off the receiving bay, and then they scan them again as they put them down into bins that we direct the operators to using our put away strategy. That put away strategy is specified at the level of each item inside each warehouse. I'll give you a short introduction to how it works. As I've just said, each item can have its own set of put away strategies or put away rules inside any given warehouse. The first thing we assign is a preferred put away zone. Many of our customers, and maybe much of the people on this call today, will have warehouses where there are different zones that are organized to hold different types of products. Well, this preferred put away zone is there to manage that kind of scenario. We initially direct the put away to the right zone for the item inside the warehouse. But then below that, we've got this second tier of rules where you can select the actual bin that we direct the put away to. The popular ones would include initially direct the put away to a pick face bin, top up whatever quantity is in the pick face, and then put the remainder to a bulk storage bin. Another popular one for customers who are doing large palletized receipts is to automatically find an empty bin location inside the bulk storage area of the warehouse. Other customers choose to group certain types of products together as close as they possibly can. There's a very rich array of combinations that can be used to manage that. But in all cases, when the operator gets to the bin location, they can choose to override should they wish. If a bin location is full or they want to put it somewhere else, they can always decide to select a different put away bin location. They can also optionally split the put away quantity between multiple bin locations. The final quick thing I'll mention on put away is that we do support cross-docking. So if any of the items that are being carried for put away are outstanding on customer sales orders, perhaps orders that have been partially picked that are waiting on the shipping bay for the outstanding item to come in, rather than put the item into put away or into normal warehouse storage, they can instead deliver the item they're carrying to a cross-dock bay where it can be very quickly matched with the order and then immediately shipped out to the customer that needs it. Anything to say on that, David, else otherwise before we move on to stock counting?
No, I think that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. So a quick introduction to stock counting. It's important to remember that because WAERlinx works, it tracks the inventory in the bin in real time. It's perfectly feasible to have stock counting underway inside the warehouse at the same time as picks and put aways. You don't need to wait until all of the normal work has been finished before stock counting starts. So against that background, the way that most of our customers choose to do this is they will select an area of the warehouse for counting at any given time. So what I'm doing here, just to illustrate, is I'm selecting a deep storage zone of the warehouse, but it could be an individual aisle or a rack or even just one bin location. Some customers choose to count all inventory by item. The filters are all there for you to do that. But what I see here is a list, in this case, of all the bin locations that are inside my deep storage zone. I'm assigning them out to count so that when the user picks up his mobile device, he's going to see that he's got these 4 locations to go and count. The user counts the inventory by barcode scanning. It's a blind count. He doesn't see the quantities that the system is expecting him to count. But what the system is doing in the background is recording any discrepancies, any counts where the quantity counted is different from the quantity that the system expected the user to count. And those discrepancies are saved and they're displayed typically for a supervisory user. They're displayed on this feature that we call count results, where you've got some plain English descriptions here of the reason why there's a discrepancy. But the important bit here is this offset column. This is highlighting the difference between what was counted and what the system expected the user to count. And the supervisor can do one of two things. If it's a small discrepancy, a low value discrepancy, and provided I have the permission to do it, then I can adjust the stock in line with the count. That adjusts the stock both on NetSuite and on WAERlinx. What it additionally does, it associates the adjustment with a general ledger account code on NetSuite so that the finance team can track the cost of any stock count adjustments. The other choice, of course, is that the supervisor can see if there's a large discrepancy, perhaps a high value discrepancy, then they can reject the count in the way that I'm doing here, and they can immediately issue a recount task either to the same user or to a different user, who will then follow this through to whatever conclusion it comes to, which is either that the original count was wrong and the stock is actually correctly in line with what the system says is there, or the discrepancy is genuine, at which point then it becomes a managerial task to identify and troubleshoot the original cause of that problem. Final quick point I'll make on this is that one of those KPIs we mentioned earlier is a straightforward line graph that tracks the number of stock count adjustments that are being made. And over time, the trend we see is that the number of adjustments goes down. And the way we've designed this is so that it creeps up and up towards 100% inventory accuracy over each month that the functionality is being used. It's again a good at a glance feature that demonstrates the inventory accuracy improvements that come as a result of using this feature.
Thanks, Andy. So that really is a quick whistle-stop tour of the journey of an order as it leaves NetSuite, flows into WAERlinx to be fulfilled. And that's the way you should think of our software. It's the fulfillment engine for your NetSuite system. And we've only just scratched the surface there. It's an advanced solution. We cater for all kinds of eventualities, all kinds of functions, the complex ones being kind of manufacturing particularly. But that's about it, Ryan, for our initial demonstration. We're more than happy now with the time we've got left to take any questions about anything warehousing, warehouse management systems, how we work with NetSuite, anything that you want to ask.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much, David. I actually have some questions. If anyone has any further questions, do just put them in the chat and we'll get through as many as possible. But does WAERlinx support lot/batch and expiry tracking?
Yeah. So again, we're operating quite a lot in the food and beverage sector, and it comes from our aerospace background actually. You know, we have lot number, batch number, tail fin number, if that applies to anybody. I guess not, but it certainly does in aerospace. And we can, and it's the same for serialized inventory. You know, they're complex ways to track products that we have as standard features that differentiate us from maybe the competitors that we talked about, and certainly differentiates us from the NetSuite system.
I could follow that with a quick point, David. You have a lot of customers who, particularly in the online retail space, they do need to track serial numbers, but not at the point of receipt, because obviously there's a lot of overhead associated with holding serial numbered stock inside the warehouse. But at the point of pack and ship, they do need to know which individual serial number products have gone out to which customers. Primarily, they need to know that for purposes of warranty tracking and general customer service further down the line.
I think the last thing I'd say as well is, you know, we offer a different kind of a service. It takes quite a while to deliver a solution like ours. You know, it's a 3-month project rather than a 3 or 4 week project. And our team, whilst they are you know, an IT company, they're also experts in warehouse management. So they're on hand to advise on, you know, warehouse strategy, picking strategy, storage location strategy, racking, infrastructure. You get a turnkey solution from a company like ours with lots of value adds from the hundreds of years amongst our team combined of working in multiple warehouses all over the world. Added to the fact that they're all nice people. We're nice people to work with. We've got a real passion for customer service, and we want to make sure that everybody we work with is completely happy.
That's perfect. Thank you. Next question is, how is serialized inventory handled within WAERlinx?
I think Andy probably answered that earlier, but we can handle it at the point of entry, and we can also handle it at the point of exit. We have really good case studies for serialized inventory. One company that uses WAERlinx in multiple warehouses around North America is managing and distributing mobile phones. So you've got to have like the IMEI number, the serial number, the SIM card number. It all has to be tracked because you're picking an exact phone. So yeah, very strong on that.
Thank you. You've alluded to the fact that you can do high volumes of orders. Can you please provide a custom example of how many orders your system's been able to fulfill in a single day during busy periods?
Well, I think I might have mentioned it. We've got a company in London who have got an incredibly efficient warehouse management process around WAERlinx as well. They've got a great team. And on Black Friday this year, I think it is cosmetics actually. And on Black Friday, I think they did 27,000 orders, and their team is probably less than 20. So phenomenal achievement. And we also have in our aerospace customers, of course, millions and millions of transactions that go through in a week.
That's brilliant. Thanks for clarifying that. Is WAER able to split works responsibility across multiple areas if it includes multiple points of manufacture in a single works order?
Blimey, that's one for Andy. That's way beyond my pay grade. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I think to answer that's a good one. I would say that with our support for NetSuite WIP and routing functions, we could integrate the tasking on individual work order lines to a specific warehouse location. We may need to look at it in more detail and come back, but broadly speaking, yes, the support is there to provide manufacturing operations inside multiple locations.
And if there's any follow-ups to that question, please do just put it in the chat and we'll get to that as well. The next question is around carrier integration. If you can provide some indicative costs for carrier integration, whether or not that's an ongoing, recurring thing.
Yeah, so if we have already built the carrier integration, and I think we've built, I don't know, I've lost track, certainly more than 40, but less than 100. Then if we built it already, then you get it for nothing. You have all our carrier integrations that just come with whatever the latest version of vanilla is with WAERlinx. You can imagine that because we're doing relatively advanced things and fixing problems for companies that maybe can't do it with their existing solution, vanilla changes quite a lot. Vanilla of our core system is always getting better, and whatever we do for our other customers, unless someone makes a specific point about saying they don't want it to go to a competitor, let's say, and we generally give all our customers the option to take advantage of the latest functions that we've built for everyone else. And there are real synergies there. I mean, we've got a couple of companies that use WAERlinx who are workwear companies, and they're competitors, but they're both benefiting by having the same warehouse management system, because works orders that have to be associated with a specific embroidery machine or a screen printing machine, and man packs where you have to coordinate all the shoes and various items of clothing for John Smith, who's on an oil rig in the North Sea. All those kinds of functions are really complex, and we've built them for one company and are basically giving them to the other with their blessing. So they get a lot of benefit out of that.
Okay, thanks for that. Final question I have currently, obviously please do put in more questions if you have any, is regarding your onboarding process. So when you take on a new customer, can you describe the onboarding process and how your project team helps to deliver and provide the expertise, and in what areas? Okay,
so it starts with a welcome pack, which includes all the kind of the spreadsheets and documentation and instructions and a guide for how the project's going to unfold. But as soon as possible, we would like to come and see you. Obviously, with the past year being difficult to do that, we haven't done that so much. Although we have put 3 systems live in North America in 2020, and we've never been there. We've never met them, and we've done a brilliant job of delivering solutions for them. Most of that's been done by FaceTime, to be honest. So to get back to the question, our project manager would come on site with a business analyst and an implementer, and we will come and see you, understand your process, understand how the business works, and have a detailed tour of the as-is operation, so that we can then start to kind of on the fly define requirements as to precisely what you need at goods in, precisely what you need for put away, receiving, and all those kinds of things. And whilst we're doing that, the implementer can have his system, his vanilla system, pre-prepared, so that once those sets of information come from our business analyst, he can start to then configure the solution precisely for you, and your test system will be available there and then. So we can have this 3-way conversation between business analyst, implementer who's building the system, and our customers, to help accelerate the process of getting your version of WAERlinx as close to fit for purpose as fast as we possibly can. What we then do is go away, take all the data, take all the inputs, build that solution, deliver it for you, so that it's in test, and then any development that we might need to do is handled as the next phase. And then we move into a transitional part of the project where we take in all those development items, modify the baseline version that you have, and then we're into testing. Our testing is very comprehensive. We've got a big team of testers, but then it's over to our customers to be handheld by us to do UAT, an absolutely crucial part of any IT project. The more effort that goes into testing, the higher the chances of rapid success are. And once UAT is complete and we're ready to go live, again, if it wasn't for COVID, we would always prefer to be on site wherever that is in the world, because we want to make sure that you are up and running as fast as possible and comfortable as fast as possible. And any teething issues, for the first month or so, we'll just handle those as snagging items and deal with them for you. We're in it for a very long time together. It's a long-term relationship, 10 years plus. We're not really interested in maximizing our consultancy dollars through a professional services project at the point of go live and through that initial implementation. What we're really interested in is a fantastic product for our customers, so that they can have a long-term relationship with us and pay us license fees. That's our business model. Hopefully that answers the question. Anything more, Ryan?
That wraps up any questions that we have currently. So can we go on to the final slide, please? So thanks everyone for taking the time to join our webinar today. If you'd like any additional information or a personalised demonstration, or would like to provide some feedback, please reach out to me at ryan.harris@noblue.co.uk. The webinar will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel over the next couple of days if you'd like to review some of the slides or the information that was presented today. So thanks again for taking the time to view today's webinar, and I look forward to catching up with you all soon.
Thanks. Cheers, everybody. Bye, Ryan.